We chatted innocently, laughter echoing through the quiet house. When suddenly an unexpected scene unfolded, revealing a couple locked in a passionate embrace for reasons that remained a mystery. Silence enveloped us. The laughter dwindled, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. And what happens next will take you through many fascinating and attractive emotions. Let's listen to this wonderful story. Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to stay updated with the latest man stories. Hope you have a relaxing and enjoyable time. Thank you. Greetings to all. I am Olivia. Born and raised in the heart of Virginia. A tranquil setting adorned with streets embraced by trees and elongated lines of homes stretching into the distance. During my formative years, I found myself largely in the company of my parents. My mother embodied gentleness, her smile greeting me each morning as she lovingly prepared breakfast, a warmth that lingered until the day faded into night. In the modest kitchen, she challenged my father, a man of few words yet immense responsibility, who toiled diligently to provide for our family. Our abode was modest and unadorned, yet it brimmed with affection. All that resided in my memory seemed flawless, or so I believed. Yet, at the tender age of 15, my entire world came crashing down. My mother departed this world following a sudden and unforeseen illness, leaving me in a state of bewilderment as the profound emptiness began to envelop me. I observed my father descend into solitude within a home that had once resonated with joy. Though we still shared the same space, we were no longer the family we once were. Each dawn, I set forth to school, and with the fall of night, I returned home. It was the same kitchen, the same simple meals, yet my mother was absent. Each meal now shared by just two people. The chasm that lay between my father and me seemed to expand beyond the confines of our home when, at the age of 18, he chose to remarry. It was a jolt to the senses, though I understood, in the depths of my heart, that he was worthy of finding happiness once more. His new wife, my stepmother, possessed a warmth and tenderness that was truly remarkable. Accompanying her was a son named Mason, who happened to be a year my junior. Initially, it seemed surreal, as though my existence had been completely upended. Once more, the tranquility of my previous life had vanished. At first, I found myself grappling with a sense of awkwardness as I endeavored to forge a connection with my younger brother. Despite the fact that he had never given me any reason to feel uneasy, he remained silent, much like myself, as we both endeavored to acclimate to our new circumstances during the evenings. The entire family would convene in the living room. My father and stepmother engaged in conversation about their jobs or upcoming endeavors, while Mason and I shared knowing looks. Overwhelmed by confusion, I found myself bowing my head in response. Family meals transformed into peculiar opportunities for us to deepen our understanding of one another. Mason frequently assisted me with food, a seemingly minor gesture that carried a weight of significance. He often remained silent, his words few and far between. Yet there were moments when his gaze would hold just a fraction longer than expected. I found myself pondering whether my feelings were overly sensitive, or if it was merely the innocent affection of a younger brother for his newly acquired older sister. Yet there lingered an undeniable tension, an unspoken weight between us. Feelings that ought to have remained purely sisterly had grown increasingly complicated, weaving a web of complexity that neither of us dared to address. There were instances during the day when my heart quickened at his nearness, and I loathed that feeling. I detested the realization that I had begun to see him as something beyond a brother. One night, I caught a glimpse of light. Echoes of footsteps reverberate through the hallway. Mason slipped into my room as he often did, and we would exchange brief words before he retreated to his own space. But this time he lingered, lengthier than the norm, his gaze locked onto mine, as though he yearned to communicate something profound. Uncertainty gripped me as I contemplated my response. The air around us crackled with an electric tension. The silence lingered, extending into an expanse before I could even gather my thoughts. As I nodded, subtly encouraging him to linger a bit more, we found ourselves enveloped in darkness. Two strangers drawn inexplicably close. To be truthful, I had a fondness for Mason. He possessed a striking handsomeness that captivated my gaze. At times, I found myself questioning whether guilt should weigh on my conscience, given that he was my brother in name. Yet, such musings were swiftly overshadowed by the rational understanding that accompanied our shared existence. We resided under the same roof, albeit in separate rooms on the second floor, while my father and stepmother inhabited the first. This arrangement occasionally resulted in uncomfortable scenarios. At that moment, Mason and I found ourselves navigating crucial turning points in our lives. As a college freshman, I found myself navigating the complexities of academia, while he, a senior in high school, was consumed by the weight of impending exams that loomed over us both. A fresh cadence of existence. Yet, the tension that lingered between us was unmistakable during those hushed evenings following the school day. We would nestle together on the sofa in the living room, the soft glow of the TV casting a gentle light over our quietude as we grappled with the elusive nature of conversation. The emotions that lingered between us were shrouded in uncertainty. Unconventional feelings between siblings. I came to the profound understanding that I truly had feelings for him. This revelation, transcending mere familial affection, left me in a state of confusion. Still, I couldn't ignore the way my heart quickened at the mere sight of Mason. It was a tranquil evening, much like any other, when the realization struck me that this one would not conclude in the same manner. My parents had embarked on a trip for 5 days, leaving Mason and me to navigate the solitude of our home. At first, we believed it would be an opportunity to unwind, free from the watchful eyes of adults. That evening, we settled into the living room, the flickering screen displaying a romantic film that held little interest for either of us. A mere distraction to pass the time, I had arranged an assortment of snacks, dried squid, fruits, and a selection of cans from Soda Town Wind, after a week that had been anything but calm. The film commenced. We chatted innocently, laughter echoing through the quiet house, when suddenly an unexpected scene unfolded, revealing a couple locked in a passionate embrace for reasons that remained a mystery. Silence enveloped us. The laughter dwindled, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. As I sat there, the unvoiced words hung in the air, and I could sense Mason's gaze upon me. A warm sensation coursed through my body, and I clutched my soda can, seeking solace in its coolness to steady my racing nerves. In an unexpected moment, Mason enveloped me in an embrace. His movements were powerful, surprising, and completely captivating. His kisses were urgent, as if all the emotions we had long suppressed had suddenly erupted. I couldn't resist the turmoil racing through my heart, yet my body reacted in a way that defied reason. In that moment, enveloped by the darkness of the quiet room, we crossed the line that had once defined sibling affection. That night shifted from an ordinary evening into something profoundly extraordinary. It signified a pivotal moment, a transformation that I sensed would reshape everything throughout that entire night. Mason and I were bound together, transcending all limits. Our communication was minimal, yet everything unfolded naturally, a culmination of feelings long held back. The intimacy we once shared began to wane, giving way to emotions that spiraled beyond our grasp. The next morning remains etched in my memory, as the soft sunlight streamed through the curtains, illuminating the space where I lay beside Mason, a place that was meant to be my tranquil sanctuary for sleep. Everything around me remained the same. The room was quiet, the light warm, yet something within me had irrevocably shifted as we exchanged glances. A handful of words exchanged, accompanied by glances that spoke volumes, hinted at a shared realization. Our lives were irrevocably altered. In the days that ensued, my father and stepmother embarked on their journeys, while we seized every moment of our time together. The awkwardness had dissipated, leaving behind a tapestry of intricate comfort. We existed like a young couple in love, unburdened by the scrutinizing gaze of the world around us. Meals evolved from lively family gatherings into cherished moments of intimacy shared solely between Mason and me as we watched each night. In those moments, films whispered their stories as we shared the same bed, allowing me to drift away from the harshness of reality, choosing to overlook the truth that Mason and I were merely siblings in name. We floated through life as a blissful duo, unaware of the bustling world that surrounded us. At last, the day came when my parents returned, and upon stepping into the house, Everything fell back into its familiar rhythm. Mason and I fell back into our familiar roles as siblings, acting as if nothing had transpired. As if every intimate moment had simply been a passing dream. My parents, blissfully unaware, smiled and chatted about their travels, while Mason and I shared knowing glances, fully aware that our secret must stay concealed. In the months that followed, we nurtured our hidden relationship, stealing moments whenever possible. Those clandestine evenings, brimming with passion, evolved into a cherished routine. In the quiet hours of the night, when my parents retired early or ventured out, Mason would quietly enter my room. We would embrace, as if the daylight had never imposed a distance between us. By day, we played our parts, maintaining the facade of normalcy. But in those stolen moments, the barriers dissolved, family meals resumed, shrouded in an air of normalcy. As Mason and I shared only the briefest of glances, this concealed tension left me gasping. Yet the guilt that lingered was not potent enough to compel me to turn away. Each night, I found myself entangled in a web of secrecy with Mason, a routine that felt all too familiar, yet suffocating. I understood the necessity of breaking free from this cycle, so I took the discreet step of starting birth control pills, determined to keep my actions hidden from prying eyes. I dreaded the potential consequences of our relationship, yet instead of stopping IQOS to maintain control. About a year later, Mason graduated and moved to a new city for college. When he left, I knew our relationship would inevitably change, even if I didn't want to admit it. The distance made things harder. No more secret nights, no more quiet moments shared. The physical separation forced us to pause our relationship, though I often felt nostalgic for our past. After graduating, I sought a new path for myself. I applied for a job as an office worker at a digital company. The position was nothing extraordinary, but it offered me stability, a respite from the emotional turmoil I had experienced. That's when he met him, the man who would change my life forever. He owned a successful hair salon in the city and exuded calmness, confidence, and charm. From our first meeting, I was struck by his strength and kindness. He was unlike anyone I had ever known. Every story he shared, every glance he offered made me feel safe, something I'd long yearned for. We fell in love quickly. Everything unfolded naturally, as if we were destined to find one another. Before long, we were married, beginning the family life I had always dreamed of. Now we have a child together, and life feels more complete than ever. My days spent with him and our child provided a fleeting escape from the haunting memories of the past, though they would occasionally resurface in moments of vulnerability. In my heart, I recognize that I have discovered a new sanctuary, a man deserving of both love and respect. Yet, in the recesses of my mind, the echoes of Mason from those clandestine days persist, stubbornly resisting the passage of time. I often wondered if I would ever truly forget. But now I have a family to protect in, and that is what matters most. Yet a part of me feels guilty towards my husband. He is a wonderful man, always showing me genuine care and affection, but every time I look into his eyes, I feel a heaviness in my heart, as if I am hiding a part of my past that he deserves to know. I grapple with the question of whether I should tell him about my past with Mason. The thought keeps me awake at night, torn between revealing the truth and keeping the secret forever. I fear that if I confess, he might never look at me the same way again. Everything we have built, the little family I cherish, could crumble due to my admission. On the other hand, living with this secret feels like a burden weighing me down each day. It makes me feel unworthy of the love he has for me. Honestly, I don't know what to do. I stand at a crossroads, uncertain which path is the right one. Perhaps when you hear my story, you will judge me for hurting many people and for the poor decisions I made in the past. But I can only ask you, if you were in my situation, what would you do? Would you choose to confess the truth knowing it might shatter everything? Or would you choose silence, letting the past sink deep into your memory, hoping it never returns to harm those you love? I hope to receive your advice in the comment section below. If you were in my shoes, what would you choose? Should I share everything and face the consequences, or should I keep this secret to safeguard what I have? I appreciate any advice, sympathy, or criticism, because truly I find myself at a crossroads, uncertain of the right path forward.